I don't know. Is the microphone on? That's what happens when the microphone is too tall for you. Everybody, the excitement is real this morning. I feel it in the room. It's always great when you can actually bring all of what I would call the players in the game to the table, and we have absolutely done that this morning. So first of all, let me welcome you to the Bedford County Workforce Development Summit, presented by the Shelbyville-Bedford Partnership, hosted by Bedford County Schools, and sponsored by Ascend Federal Credit Union. The Shelbyville-Bedford Partnership's mission is to provide economic development opportunities for the city of Shelbyville and Bedford County for the benefit of our citizens. The partnership recruits new industry and retail, but most importantly, we also work diligently to support our existing industry and businesses. Today is a perfect example of supporting our local industry. We partnered with Bedford County Schools to bring some of our local industry leaders here to present firsthand their skill set needs of employees, of their future employees. Our intent today is to bridge communication between industry and education. We are fortunate to have with us today the end users of workforce development, our industries, the support for workforce development, our elected officials, and the beginning of our workforce development, our educators. Welcome to all, and at this time I will turn the mic over to Dr. Tammy Garrett.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
These are high school teachers. I know they've got spirit. Thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate the opportunity that the Bedford County Partnership and Mr. Vick has worked hard. Kelly North, Lori Sexton, Mr. Harwell, all of those folks have worked hard to bring us together today. Many times we do not get opportunities to sit down with county officials and business leaders to find out what it is that we want to do to prepare our kids. And we want this to be a partnership. Educators, your voice today is important, and that's what I want you to remember. It's important. We want the business leaders to hear your voice as well. And I appreciate your attention today. I appreciate everything that you do for students in Bedford County every day. It has been a phenomenal week in Bedford County. We look forward to accelerating learning in our county. We have the very best educators that are in the state. I believe that with all my heart. And you will see today county officials and business leaders, while we in Bedford County will be #1 in the state and be recognized for the work that we are doing. Thank you.
I'm County Commissioner Greg Vick. Thank you, Dr. Garrett. I want to thank Dr. Garrett and Mayor Graham. I want to thank Kelly North, Shane Hooper from the Shelbyville-Bedford Partnership. Lori Sexton, thank you for all you've done as well. Sheriff Austin Swing is here. Sheriff, thank you so much for all that you've done for us. And Mark Thomas, our fire chief, our friends from Ascend Federal Credit Union. I'd like to recognize our elected officials for just a minute. If you're a member of the County Commission, I want you to stand up. If you're a member of the school board, just stand up for just a minute. If you're a mayor, stand up. If you're with the city of Shelbyville, stand up. If you're a city alderman from Bell Buckle or Normandy or Wartrace, stand up. Elected officials, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, Dr. Garrett said, Greg, you got 5 minutes. Don't get up there and start talking a whole lot there. So I got to make this fast, Dr. Garrett. So let me introduce our guests real quick. Dr. Laura Monks from TCAT will be on our first panel here, which is Cultivating the Workforce of the Future. And of course, TCAT in Shelbyville is the TCAT of the year, and we have a new facility coming in. Dr. Michael Torrance, Motlow State Community College. I don't know if you've seen an excellent article he did on community colleges and two-year schools, the role they play. Dr. Mark Burns from MTSU is our provost. which means he's the Chief Academic Officer for the university, and we are proud to have you here. And Brandon Hudson is the State Director of Workforce and Economic Development. They will be on the first. And Dr. Garrett from the Bedford County Schools Director. Our second segment will be on the legislative side, and then we have our state representative, who also is the Speaker Pro Tem of the House, Pat Marsh, is here, and State Representative and Chairman of the House Education Committee, Mark White, is here. That will be facilitated by Mr. Mike Krause, and we'll get to Mr. Krause in just a moment. Our final session will be on the in-demand skills for the future workforce with the facilitator, John Hatfield, who is Regional Coordinator for ECD. We'll have Blair Mann from Cooper Steel Fabricators, our friend Keith Weaver from Nearest Green Distillery, Shelby Scoggins from Morelli, Scott Johnson from Musgrave. We are also live streaming this event, so I have to say thank you to Representative Marsh, to First Community Bank, to Duck River Electric for providing sponsorship on that. It's been a great opportunity. We have learned a lot. Commissioner Yockey has assisted me, the county commission, everybody. It's been just, and the mayor, thank you, Mayor, for all you've done for us on there. Our facilitator is going to be our friend Mike Krause. Mike Krause is a veteran, Army veteran, 101st Airborne. We went to Austin Peay. He got his master's degree at Vanderbilt. He was a senior policy advisor for Governor Haslam, 14 years in state government. He was the originator of the Tennessee Promise, which is the free college tuition program for community colleges. He is a leader in workforce development. He is a leader in our state. We are so pleased to have him, and I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Mike Krause.
Good morning. I actually want to start by thanking the educators. If you are a school's employee, raise your hand, please. So I just want to thank you all. The last couple years, I don't think any of us ever could have imagined it. When I left the military, I spent a lot of time having people thank me for my service. And I think the last 18 months, we've gotten to see how important educators are. So I want to thank you for your service. So now we're going to talk about workforce. I was fortunate, as Greg just shared, to have a couple roles with the state that gave me a little bit of insight into how communities can change their future. That's ultimately what the programs that we launched in Tennessee were about. Tennessee Promise was about how can our state change its future. And in that perch, and now in the last 10 months, where essentially my job in private practice is to help communities think about their workforce, we may be talking about workforce and jobs and CTE and financial aid. What we're really talking about is how communities can change their future. So we're poised right now, and everybody's seeing it. I drove past 4 now hiring signs on my way in from Thompson Station to Bedford County. We have got a high school generation that has experienced something none of us experienced in high school in terms of disruption. We've got a higher education ecosystem that went through the same disruption. And on top of it, we're sitting in a state who economically is booming. And so all of those things are a confluence that I think lead to a question of, now what? And I will tell you all something honestly. I'm working statewide right now and to some extent working across the nation. There's no other region I would rather be talking in today than Southern Middle Tennessee, for a couple reasons. First off, some communities want to develop economically. They can't if they don't have the right leaders. I am telling you, you have the right leaders. Most of them are here on stage. Mayor Graham, y'all have a confluence with your commission, your school board, and these leaders that if you don't have it, you can't change your future. So that's the best positive starting off. Second, this is a nice place to live. I wouldn't want to do economic and workforce development in, I don't know, Canada. It's cold. Nobody wants to live there. People want to live in Middle Tennessee. We're a low-tax state. We're a business-friendly state. Again, these are things you can't make happen. They either are or they aren't. Here, they are. And here's the last piece. You all are about to have, in my opinion, the most state-of-the-art higher education center in the state. Thanks to Chairman White and Representative Marsh. When I was the higher education director, one of the duties is you're the person who has a role and thought process on which buildings are going to get built. And for about 2 years, I thought my name every time I ran into Representative Marsh was, "Where's my higher ed center?" And so I can tell you that Representative Marsh was an absolutely constant advocate, and that's about to pay off, because you're going to have these 3 universities represented and a K-12 district under one roof. Again, you either have that or you don't. Bedford County is about to have it. So now we're going to talk about now what, and we're going to hear from these experts. But I want to end my remarks where I started. None of this happens without the educators, the K-12 educators. And the policy people like me can get up here and talk all day long. None of it happens without the teachers that show up period after period after period the way y'all do. And I hope you know that is a very sincere belief on my part, and I think I can speak for our 2 legislators as well, that we're very cognizant. All of this is pie in the sky without educators. Let's talk to 2 local educators right now and keep it local. And I want to ask Dr. Garrett and Dr. Monks, what are you most excited about right now when it comes to workforce development education in Southern Middle?
What I'm most excited about is the ability that our educators will have to access the facilities, especially that new higher ed facility. One of the things that is exciting is the energy that we have in this county for educators. And we are coming off, our growth was a 5. We are in a great place to redesign high schools. One of the things that I'm hearing, and educators will throw something if I don't say this, but we have to have the funding that we need, and we appreciate the state putting forth the funding for the center. We will also need funding as we look at CTE for the amount of teachers that we need to run the program that we need. And so we are committed to do that. And what the state's focus on CTE, we are excited about that. What we know is that we want our students in Bedford County to be able to do anything that they want to do when they leave us, whether it be technical school, workforce, 2-year university, 4-year university. We're committed to that. Every time I talk to teachers in this county, they are committed to that. Educators, they work tirelessly and hours to do that, and we have the skills. If we get the funding and the backing, there will be no stopping us in Bedford County, because I'm telling you, the people that you see in front of you are amazing teachers, and we have the commission and the school board that is ready to put forth what we need to give our kids the ability to do whatever they want to in their future.
Absolutely. Sure. So there are 2 items I'd like to emphasize that I'm most excited about today. And one of those is dual enrollment. This year we launched a dual enrollment initiative with Bedford County unlike TCAT Shelbyville has ever seen before. And that happened under the new leadership of Dr. Garrett and having Lori Sexton come in. And a little story I just want to share with you is I walk around campus yesterday and I go through the welding shop, and my welding faculty member tells me that there is a student there that's driven from community high school, and he's excited about school again. And he's there for 3 hours. He wishes he could be there for 6 hours. And we know that for every advanced degree that we as institutions produce, we need 7 individuals with skilled trades and skilled knowledge. And so we need to increase that pipeline, and it's exciting to know that that's happening here in Bedford County. That's that student who's coming from Cascade every day to our HVAC program and is excited about school again. And of course, all that could not be possible without that energy you talked about, Dr. Garrett, is the team here made up of local legislators, our school board, Greg Vick and the mayor, and those you see here at the table talking on a regular basis about not just what can we do today, is what can we do 5 years from now? What does that look like? And be excited about it, and knowing that we have the funding coming for the new campus where we're all going to be partners. So it is very exciting to be part of workforce development in Bedford County and having Dr. Garrett on my team.
I want to also point out the fact that evident deep relationship that your K-12 system and your higher ed leaders have is another thing. You either have it or you don't. If you don't have it, it's grow. Dr. Burns, let me go to you for a moment. So when I was in my higher ed chief role, one of the things everybody knew about MTSU is that you all were a university that did it right with employers. Whether it was aerospace, recording industry, concrete management, when you all talk to employers, what are you hearing when it comes to the skills they want to see from your university graduates?
Well, they want two things, I think, or maybe more than two, but they want specific skills to their field. So if you're hiring a pilot, obviously you want someone well-trained in how to be a pilot.
I think we all would like
We could all be in favor of that. If I can plug, we're about to open an MS in physician assistant studies, taking applications right now. Those graduates, after 27 months, are going to walk out into a six-figure job. Okay, that was the unpaid advertisement. So they want discipline-specific skills, but they also want the soft skills. Kids who know, young people who know how to dress, show up on time, work a full day. A lot of them don't know that when they're entering the workforce for the first time. So our focus is primarily on the first part of it, talking to employers, seeing what they need, and trying to make sure that our academic programs match what employers need. And so traditionally, we've not, in higher ed generally, I don't think, done a really good job of reaching out to employers directly and saying, what do you need? And what do you need 5 years from now? And so we're trying to do a better job of that. But many of the programs that we've started, most of them in the last 10 years, have been in response to conversations we've had with folks out in the community. What are the needs? Where are the jobs going to be? How can we help?
So I got a call one day from the Chronicle of Higher Education asking to shadow the community college president. And I said, there's only one. I said, who is it? Mike Torrance. You got to go talk to Torrance. Because one thing you all know, Motlow is a community college whose geographical responsibilities are vast, and Dr. Torrance is somehow everywhere all the time. And so I want to ask you, we just heard from Dr. Burns what he's hearing from employers. You truly have circumnavigated southern Middle Tennessee 15 times. What do you hear from the community? What do you hear that people are worried about when it comes to workforce and excited about?
So the gravitas of having this nucleus of these folks and these opportunities from ECD porting in literally businesses all over the place, where we've been land rich. So when you think about most of southern Middle Tennessee being small town and rural, but adding to the fact that we're becoming micro metro in some components, I think that you need to understand that as context for the responses and the things that have been told to me. Some of us want no change. We want to be able to pass on land to our families, and we want to maintain the semblance of what we understand. But we recognize that with the quote-unquote diversity explosion, and what I mean by that is that people who are younger are migrating like they've never have before to Rutherford, Davidson, and additionally, what's happening is these farms and these large plots of land are being left to the devices of time and a maturing population. That's the word that I know I'm supposed to use. We don't use old, we say a maturing population that is going to have to do something with it, sell it off for pennies on the dollar of what it's really worth, and it's worth a lot more, Mike, than what someone's buying, because you're buying heritage, 100-year farms. So that's one thing. We want to keep it the same. The second thing, and there are three. The second thing is we want to make sure that whatever's coming into our area is going to be generationally impactful. We don't want people to move into our familial, our family atmosphere in southern Middle Tennessee and take our blue-collar work ethic. Tennesseans have a blue-collar work ethic, but the new-collar job skills that we're developing for the emerging economies. So that's the second thing.
Can I stop you?
Yes, sir.
Can you walk us through how you view that definition of new-collar jobs in the future of work?
Yes, so new-collar jobs are, they're clean now. We talk a lot about the technical colleges, community colleges, and universities and beyond, where new-collar jobs are about cyber. They're STEM-centric. but you're using your mind to program and fix what's broken versus having to get oil on your body like our grandfathers and grandmothers used to do to fix things. So the future of work is actually now, and it's occurred. It isn't occurring, it's not happening, it's happened. The future of work is about portability. And when I say portability, that means if there is not something available for me in this county, one, we want to bring it here. But if it's not here, I need to traverse or cross county lines to make a livable wage and bring that back to where I live.
Dr. Hudson, so you were vice president of TCAT Shelbyville, a horrible state agency that I led decided we wanted you to work for us. Dr. Monks is still mad, as you can tell. When you came to the state level from working at a local level, what was the biggest statewide picture you got that surprised you?
Thank you, sir. I think the biggest thing is while every county, every region has its own challenges, they're not that different from each other across the state. So what's a challenge in Bedford County is also a similar type of challenge in Cobb County or in Shelby County. So I think that's just the biggest thing that really stood out to me is we're not so different, but it's going to take everybody working together as a common state, working towards common goals to accomplish all the goals that we've set, both attainment goals, our post-secondary attainment goals, as well as workforce development goals.
So one of the things you and I were able to work together on that I will tell you right now is one of the most important things we can do in the state, and that's to make sure that dual enrollment is not just about general education credit. Dual enrollment cannot just be about high-achieving students taking psych so they can show up to middle as a sophomore. I want them to show up to middle as a sophomore. But dual enrollment has to be for the student who maybe said, I don't even know if I'm going to college. And we find a way for CTE to fill that gap. Dr. Hudson has been a transformational force at the state level to do that. Can you walk us through how you have managed to have CTE coursework that previously didn't count now be fully transcribed at a TCAP or community college?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And again, you've heard a lot about partnerships and relationships, and that's the biggest thing. That's what it takes to get those courses set up. Talk about the relationship between Dr. Garrett and Dr. Monks. That's transformational. That if you have leaders that talk to each other, that's what it takes. But also, you also have to have the buy-in of the educators as well. You can't just have a relationship between superintendents, director of schools, and presidents. You also have the relationships between faculty members at both the post-secondary level and the K-12 level, talking together for the benefit of students.
Which takes us to Dr. Garrett. Let's talk CTE for a moment. What are the ways in which, let me go back, what are you most excited about within your CTE program right now that you think will transform the workforce?
The opportunities that we have with the dual enrollment. We want to create something where our students can come out with industry certifications. We want to increase our ready graduate number. We're really working on that. So those are exciting times. Mr. Harwell and Lori Sexton have been going across the state looking at programs in which the ready graduate, they've had success with that number. And that's something that we're working on, is to what can we do to make sure that we have enough teachers, a facility that we are able to have the most up-to-date equipment. Because what I have heard is that we have had equipment that we train students on, but it's outdated when they go into the workforce. So we are working to make sure, writing grants, doing everything we can to make sure we have the equipment that is up to date. And we also want to make sure that, and we know and recognize that what we're doing today will not be the same thing tomorrow. So we're wanting to make sure that kids are problem solvers, they're solutions oriented, they can work on teams. Those are the things that we're going to be training on and that we're already doing in some instances. And we are, the club, like for example, criminal justice at Shelbyville Central, it has exploded as a program. So we want to take those things that we've learned and replicate those into other areas.
What does that look like? What is the replication that needs to happen?
First of all, you have someone who's passionate, that's the teacher, who is committed to the program. that particular teacher has field experience that he can bring to the table, and he has a great facility. And also, we are working to make sure that we can pay supplements after school that he is willing to put the time in to make the program what it needs to be.
Dr. Monks, what's the graduation rate at TCAT Shelbyville?
Right now, we're standing at 81% completion rate.
What's the job placement rate?
We are at 90% placement rate.
What is the secret? How is that happening?
Well, it starts with the student. And we know Stephen Covey tells us in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People that you begin with the end in mind. And so our students usually walk in the door knowing what job they want to have at the end. They've done their research. They've chosen a technical college in our program for a reason, because there's a reputation there. But it really comes down to the rigor and the relevance of the program. And that rigor is supported by very high quality faculty members who have great relationships with area industry, and that industry is supporting our institution with advisory members, equipment, donations. They're involved. They're coming and talking with our students. They're looking at our curriculum and making sure that those skills are what are needed to be an entry-level technician in the field. And that's all goes back to the relevance. TCAT Shelbyville offers 13 different programs for a reason. And that's because those are the needs here in our region. You go to our north, to our east, to our west, you may find another TCAT that has 13 other different programs, but that's because they are offering the programs that are relevant to their area. And we have the flexibility, thankfully, through THEC and TBR, that we can keep our curriculum general enough that we can be flexible to the needs of our industry. And it really comes down to that great faculty member who is with that student 6 hours a day, who forms that mentoring relationship with them, that is their biggest cheerleader. And we take students that come to us that thought they could not be successful, but they get their hands on that welder or under the hood of that car, or they walk into that clinical setting for the first time and they've got a faculty member there standing with them, cheering them on. And so we are just very blessed that we have the faculty that we do that are able to engage with our students in the way they do.
So closely related, if you're talking on the national stage about an ideal partnership, one of the things you hear about is the TCAT Shelbyville to Motlow to MTSU pathway, specifically on advanced manufacturing and design.
Absolutely.
Dr. Torrance, Dr. Burns, you get like a minute each. Can you talk about why does it work right now that I can get an associate's in mechatronics and end up with a bachelor's in middle? What did you all have to do to make that happen?
Talk, and more importantly, listen, and do something that typical people do this about. Be willing to acquiesce about what we think we have to have in a program pathway, and say, okay, let's just clear the slate. What's going to be the fastest route for someone to get something done within a year that gives them a certificate? It's a stackable credential that will move smoothly, not seamlessly, but smoothly to Middle Tennessee, where they move to make $45,000 with their first certificate, $60,000 with their next certificate, and then $90,000 once they get their baccalaureate degree.
Yeah, I can't improve on that answer at all. It's really about cooperating and talking and having an attitude of partnership with everybody, going all the way down, well, not down, all the way to the high schools. Again, traditionally higher ed is, here's what we need to do, and everybody else can adjust to us. And I think we're getting over that attitude, and we need to do even better. But it's really about being open and realizing, like Dr. Torrance says, that just because we've always done it a certain way doesn't mean we have to continue doing it that way, and keep the needs of the student and their employment future in mind.
Did you have something else, Dr. Torrance?
Yes, sir. So we have something within the system, within the state that's already existing, career in a year, warranty programs that focus on the fact that we guarantee our product, and our product is our people. The human capital that we have in the state is the most important product that we have. So when we sign it and stamp it, if an industry employer does not accept, or if someone's not doing something to a level that they expect, send them back to us. We will fix that at no cost and send them back to you ready to go. Advanced manufacturing, robotics, AI, predictive analytics, the movement towards not replacing people with robots, but giving people the opportunity to be around people and make the product better is what we're doing as a higher education system.
Let me ask a question that's kind of close to my heart, and you opened up earlier relative to our agriculture industry, which, as y'all know, is key to Southern Middle. Dr. Hudson, can you talk to us a little bit about how we've thought about training students who maybe don't have an agricultural background to move into ag careers via technical ed?
Yes, sir. And I think there's a lot of misconception about what the agriculture industry kind of entails. There's farming, and then that's usually what everybody thinks of. But there are so many different careers, and you all know this, that are adjacent to agriculture. So the IT related fields that are in agriculture, you have to be innovative with your program offerings. President Monks at TCAT Shelbyville, and then you also have President Milligan at TCAT Crump, started a brand new program called Farming Operations Technology. I talked to President Milligan yesterday. He wishes he would have changed the name a little bit to Agriculture Technology. But it is, I mean, it's a very innovative program that are providing dual enrollment opportunities and post-secondary opportunities to students that were maybe lost a little bit with their path. So that program entails many different things: soil sciences, horticulture, but also large engine or heavy engine repair, and drone technology. So it's not just the farming aspect of it, it is the innovation around agriculture and just meeting the needs of the businesses and the industries in the area. That's, Dr. Monks mentioned it numerous times, you have to listen to your industry partners to see what they need now and in the future, and then plan for that.
And so, knowing who our audience was going to be today, I wanted a very intentional commercial around this program. One, it's essential to our state's future. And two, we do have an agricultural workforce crisis right now. We just do. And so I want us to dig into this a little more. Dr. Monks, can you walk us through the curriculum? Because I'd love to arm y'all when you have that student that you just know that maybe some of the subject areas you've talked about aren't clicking with them, to have in your arsenal to be able to say, let me talk to you about the Farming Operations Technology Program.
Absolutely. So right now there's a soil management focus. So learning about the soil that you have on your farm or where you're going to be working. There's a part of that soil is the building of structures on that, because you have to know where you're building and why you can only, you don't want to build down there where it's holds water. There's a livestock management portion of it. So as we know, that goes from chickens to goats to cows, runs the gamut. You need to know about them. Now, you don't have to know everything like a vet would know, but you need to have a general knowledge of the livestock that you're tending to and the nutrients that they need on the farm that they're going to be at. And then the last section of it is the precision ag portion. So it's the GPS. It's the tractor that is driven over 300 acres, and you only have this much fertilizer, so you need to make sure you get it all is over that 300 acres, and you're not covering any place twice. You're not leaving out a spot. But it's then also that drone that can go out and check at night. If there's 300 cattle out there, they can go out there and count that 300 cattle. And if any of them have the temperature, they can come back and get that report as well. But it's also the technical portion. They have to know some computer skills. They have to know some finance. They may be the person that is running a 10,000 acre farm for someone. So they need to know a little bit about everything about that farm. And it's exciting to know that they're going to have the skills, and there's also with us, we've been talking with Motlow. They have an ag associate's degree, and we've also continued that conversation with Tennessee State. So Dr. Ricketts at Tennessee State. So it's very possible a student can start out at TCAT Shelbyville and get a diploma in farming operations technology, go on to Motlow, in 30 more hours have their associate's degree, and then go on to Tennessee State, possibly MTSU, as they're going to be our partners here in Bedford County, and end up with their bachelor's degree.
Dr. Garrett, you have 2 minutes with legislators or the governor, and there are 2 legislators here. What's the most important thing you think they need to hear from the K-12 perspective right now?
I had the opportunity to catch them this morning, so I promise you I did that.
Do you want to just leave it at that, or do you want to share?
Well, I think a couple of things right now. The state funding formula will be readdressed. They are talking about goes toward the student. And so in Bedford County, we do have a lot of needs. We have, this morning I was telling them, we have now up to 26.7% of our population in Bedford County, our student population, are English language learners. And we all know that economically disadvantaged English language learners, CTE, all of those students require more funding to educate. And so as we have the conversation around state funding, we want to be involved. And I have sent messages to commissioners, mayor, school board members, teachers. We have to be involved in this conversation because we do not want rural counties to get left out. So that is important. The other thing that's very important right now is AMOs, annual measurable objectives. We want to make sure that we use the most current data, which is 2021 data. And I think they're going to fix that in legislation this coming year. So we're in hopes of that. That is achievement compared to growth. And we know that with our high needs population in certain areas, it is very hard to reach the achievement of a Williamson County or Anderson County and some of those, but we can make growth, which we showed this year. So we really want to keep that growth aspect in our accountability model, and we want to use the most current data because teachers and students and parents have been through a lot over the last couple of years. This is the third year that we're dealing with the pandemic in the school system, and so we want the most current data. And funding, state funding for rural counties with high needs is important. The other thing that I would say, I cannot neglect to say that we have to pay teachers what they deserve. There is a huge teacher shortage. If you look at our Human Resources Department right now, special education is hard. We want to also make sure that we can attract the very best teachers. In order to do that, we are competing in this county with Rutherford. We are competing with Williamson. We have to have the ability to fund our teachers what they deserve. And we got to get there. We got to be able to compete with those. And we look forward to the day that we can say we are very competitive.
Dr. Burns, you want to do just because I think we've wandered into a really important territory, which is kind of where we started, which is none of this workforce stuff happens without great teachers. Do you want to share a little bit about where middle is right now in teacher prep, which I think is a pretty exciting space?
First off, let me agree with Dr. Garrett. I'm concerned about the flow of teachers into, or pre-teachers into pre-service educators. Never get the term right. But the students who want to be teachers, there's not as many of them right now. We're seeing enrollments, and we're doing all sorts of exciting stuff, so I'm sort of taking a veer from your question, Mike, but we need to figure out a way as a state to make public teaching an attractive option. I mean, that is so vital, not just for enrollment in the MTSU College of Education, more importantly for the future of the state. So that's a huge thing for the state. And we're doing all sorts of things. We worked pretty closely with SCORE, the statewide initiative led by former Senator Frist, to make the teachers that we produce more reflective of the population. The diversity element has been a really important part of that. And we've gone through significant changes in terms of student teaching, and that's been going on for 5 or more years about how do we best give the students the experience that they need before they walk into the classroom for the first time as a certified teacher. So there's a lot going on, but the most worrying thing to me is this supply issue. And how do we, in Rutherford County, which in Murfreesboro City, traditionally viewed as attractive places to work, they can't hire teachers in certain fields. And even in some of 2 or 3 of the high schools that not all, but the applicants flock to, they can't find teachers. That's just, it used to be if you wanted to teach high school history, you better be an excellent football coach. Well, now, they can't even find history teachers. It's amazing to me. So we want to do what we can, and we need help from the school districts, from all of the TCATs, everybody. What can we do to help?
I want to make sure that people are aware of this, and Dr. Burns can correct me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge right now, there are 2 undergraduate math teachers that are enrolled at MTSU for us to choose from. Luckily, and I gave the HR director 1 job yesterday, and I told him last night, you failed. One of those is a Bedford County kid. So I'm hoping that we will get that kid, but that's only 1 more left for all the surrounding counties. It's a crisis, and we got to find a way to figure it out.
Dr. Hudson, how'd you start your education career?
I was a high school business teacher after graduating from a master's program at MTSU, the business education program there. So taught high school and community college dual enrollment community college for 6 years.
So when you left your role in the classroom and you've ended up here now on a statewide stage, how did we solve this problem?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you for that.
I'm waiting on a good answer.
I'll start off. I was an awful teacher. I was not a good teacher. I was not passionate about it. But if I could go back now and take the lessons that I've learned at the state level and reapply those to the classroom, I think I would be a much better teacher now than I was back then.
What were those lessons?
That's not MTSU's fault. Those lessons, care about the kids is the number 1 thing, and you all do, obviously. But that is the number 1 thing. Is just a lot of these students don't have the support system at home that they need in order to succeed. We all know that. So the teachers that are passionate about teaching, passionate about students, it shows, and it's more than just what happens in the classroom or the shop area. That's why, I'm a little bit biased to CTE, but that's why CTE teachers are so impactful to what those students can accomplish, is because, like President Monk said a while ago, at the TCAT level, they're with the students for 6 hours a day, and at the high school level, it's not with them quite as much, but they show them they care, and all good teachers do. So I think that's the most important thing. Be there for the students. Show them that you're there for them. If they, that's just the most important thing, and that's the biggest lesson that I've learned.
Dr. Torrance, the year is 2031. As you recline on your artificially intelligence-controlled couch, and you look back at, wow, things in Bedford County transformed in 2021. Looking back, what do you think the most important traits would be that would transform the workforce pipeline for people like Shane that are kind of trying every day to recruit employers here?
Well, I would align it with the fact that Shane Hooper showed up and that the community was smart enough to hire him away from Mississippi.
Yeah.
I would always say, we always think about the stuff and the technological literacy, the digital literacy that we need to close that gap and divide on. But if I'm sitting in my recliner, I'm thinking about the people that I got to work with, and they're on the stage. They are former state employees and consultants now, as well as the Tennessee General Assembly, and even those people who report on what we do. And I'm not just talking about auditors. I'm talking about the positive connections that we should have as communities with those who communicate what is happening in our institutions. How we advanced from being distributive to financially focused. That means we went from horizontal to vertical. We're going to see lots of buildings get built over the next decade, I'd imagine, but we're also going to see the skill sets necessary to work in those facilities evolve, not change, because we don't like change. We're Tennesseans, we don't like change. We like to evolve. So this common denominator of evolving, what does that mean? That means that in an English class, in a business class, in a history class, in a shop class, that the technological literacy needs to be imbued so that it improves the human condition. That is the point of it. It is not to replace any of us. It is to improve the human condition. That's philosophical. I am an English major, excuse me, but that's really an important facet. And as we look at robotics and the advancement and use of how you're going to get your food, how we're going to grow our food, How we're going to make sure that young men and women coming through the K-12 system make choices about stacking credentials along the way, not waiting till they get to Motlow or to TCAT or to the university level, stacking the credentials along the way so that they can become gainfully employed at 16 and 17, so long as they're developmentally appropriately ready to go into the workforce, right? I think that's really important for the future of our state, for our region, and more importantly, at the end of the day, when my child and my children who are Tennessee educated through university, at the end of the day, it's selfish. And I'll make the selfish statement about me. When I'm gone, I want the stories told about what was your daddy committed to. Your daddy was committed to other people in the community being as successful as they could possibly be and being ready to go to the mat with anybody that wasn't as committed as I thought they should be. We need to be convicted, not just committed, but we need to be convicted to making sure we support our students with this.
Dr. Garrett, 2031, looking back, what do you think would be the most important thing to transform our workforce here?
Well, I definitely think that we have some great teachers, but we need funding to do what we need to do. I recently discovered that, and this was a surprise to me, that every kid doesn't have a book in our system. We need kids to have books in their hand that they can go home with, because internet is a big issue for us. And I want, in 2031, my vision would be that we are successful, and to do that, these teachers need to be paid what they're worth. They need to be able to have the supplies that they need, that we're not having to beg. We want to have great facilities, and I think if we can line those things up and have a great pool to pull from when we have a job, my vision is that they're lined up. We want to be back to the days that you have many applicants for these positions. To do that, I want to make sure that students have mental health support so the teachers can do their jobs and teach, because kids have been through a lot. And what we find is we have to be able to educate and be engaged while they're there. So that's my vision, and I look forward to the day we look back and say we're there.
Dr. Burns, 2031, looking back, and specifically focus on middles, really important relationship with this county.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope there's a little more activity in the skies for one thing. I think it's our job is to make sure that we're offering the right degrees. And you mentioned some of the things specific to Bedford County agriculture and the other areas. That's our challenge, is how do we structure our academic program so that a student who wants to come back and live in Bedford County can do so, earn a good wage, use the college degree. Let me say, I'm a former liberal arts guy, college dean of the College of Liberal Arts. I still believe in English and history and music and all of that. Let me just say, and sometimes in workforce discussions, we get so focused on the strictly vocational things, which are important, that we forget the value of that. Most of our graduates in those areas are employed. They're not on the street corner. So we got to balance all that as we think about what our offerings look like. What's the traditional classical college education? We don't want to lose that, but we've got to layer on top of that, what does it look like to prepare people for the jobs that are going to be here over the next 10 years? And I think the whole panel has talked about what some of those skills are.
Dr. Hudson, to close, 2031, looking back.
I think it's just a continued partnership and alignment between all the stakeholders that are at this table, both this way for the pipeline, but also this way. So if you have, Dr. Dorrance mentioned stackable credentials numerous times. I think if you are a student at MTSU in the mechatronics program, but you need some of those hands-on skills as well, go to TCAT. I put TCAT, Shelbyville's industrial maintenance program, and their information technology and infrastructure management programs up against anything in the country. And the partnership has to flow both ways. So up, down, it doesn't matter if a student graduates from Shelbyville Central, from TCAT, Shelbyville, Motlow State, just that partnership, knowing that there's a pathway and multiple on and off ramps for those students. I think that's the biggest thing that's going to turn to help the workforce development.
Well, my favorite thing you just said was about how we'd put those TCAP programs up against anything in the country. And I would just say I would put this leadership group up against any K-12 higher ed leadership group in the state or the country. So I hope y'all know we've got the right recipe here, that again, if we didn't have it, we can't even discuss moving forward. Join me in thanking them, please. We are going to take just a moment to reset. We're going to ask our legislators to join us up here, and then we're going to continue our conversation. Thank you all.
All right, everybody, if you'll take your seats, 1 minute, we'll start our second segment. Mike Krause will be the facilitator here, so everybody grab a seat. 1 minute. Second session. Everybody grab a seat. Everybody grab a seat. We're going to start our second session. Tim Harwell has an announcement.
All right, everybody, if you can find your seat, we're getting ready to start with our second session.
Oh, wow. Good work.
All right, if everyone can settle in and find your seat, we're getting ready to begin our second session. Friendly reminder, please everyone turn off your cell phones, mute your cell phones. And also, if you don't mind, please put away your laptops. Everyone, please remember why we're here today, and that's to listen to our conversations from our panelists. Also, if you can refrain from having conversations during the session, our panelists can hear that up here. So let's be mindful and be respectful, everyone, and let's enjoy this second session.
Thank you. We're going to swing it to our legislative segment here. And Mike Krause, thank you. Great job. We're going to turn it over to you for the questions with Representative March and Representative White. Mike Krause.
Thank you. I want to take a moment to thank Commissioner Vick, by the way. When this concept, by the way, this is a 4 or 5 month journey to kind of get here today. So Commissioner Vick, thank you. Without you, we wouldn't be here today. Thank you. So we're going to zoom out a little bit. I think we had a chance to kind of talk about the entire education ecosystem during our last session. We're going to zoom out to the state level. Very honored to be on stage, and trust me when I tell you all this. This will be my 15th legislative session. There are legislators who show up there every day and they just get it. They understand why they're there. They do their job, which in theory is a part-time job. I can assure you it is not. And 2 of those legislators that get it are on stage with us today. You all, I know Representative Marsh, who is an absolutely tireless advocate for Bedford County and Southern Middle. You may not know Representative Mark White, who represents a portion of Shelby County. I think it's pretty cool that the chairman of the House Education Committee for the entire state of Tennessee got in his car and drove 3.5 hours to be here in Bedford County. I think it demonstrates from both of them, and I have seen this working with them now for a decade, they understand their ultimate job is to be the voice of their constituents. And Representative White in particular has a statewide role. He's the chair of the House Education Committee, which means if you're a teacher or a school board member or a staff member in a school district, hearing from you all helps him do a better job. And I don't want to speak for you, but I think that's why you made the trip. So thank you for making the trip.
Thank you, Mike.
And thank you, Representative Marsh, for everything you do for Southern Middle. We're going to go ahead and get started. And this one's going to be a fun one that actually isn't education related, but if we've got two legislators here, I think we ought to ask it. What's it like to be a legislator? What does your day look like? What are the challenges you face? What's it like? Chairman, Speaker?
Thank you, Mike, and I appreciate your role in putting this all together too. Mike is an expert. Mike has helped me for 12 years, works tirelessly for the state and primarily in the education area. So I've learned a lot from him, and he's got a passion like no one else. And I think probably the best thing that I've ever done as a state rep, and the best thing that we passed in the state of Tennessee is the Tennessee Promise. And Mike was the champion behind that. He worked for Governor Haslam, and it's just opened the door for our students all across the state. And the country is looking, the U.S. country is looking at what we did and thinking about doing it all over the U.S. So, Mike, you've done a great job, and I really appreciate it. And now to get on to why or how it is to be in a state rep, I'm a businessman, been in the trucking business for 40-something years, and I had really no desire to be a state rep. I got talked into it 12 years ago, and I didn't know what it was like at all. I only knew one person in Nashville, and that was Senator Jim Tracy. And Jim and a bunch of his buddies and a lot of folks talked me into doing it and saying what a great opportunity it would be for me and for our district, which is Lincoln and Bedford County. And so I did it, and I won, and I thought, well, I'm only going to do it for a couple of years, and here I am in my 12th year. It gets under your skin. It's a passionate job, and I think the best thing that I could say about it, what it does for me, it enables me to help others. I get called all the time about a road or a Linda Yaki, about weeds growing up in the road, and broadband internet, just everything. You cannot imagine what calls we get. And a lot of it I don't know a lot about. But what I found out, that all of our departments in the state of Tennessee have excellent staff. We are assigned a liaison between each department, transportation and labor and finance and health and commerce, and all these probably 22 different departments have experts that are there just to help us out. So if I have a problem, I call, and it is amazing how quickly they respond to a state representative. I feel like I'm just a nobody. And I call them, and they call back immediately, and it's immediately taken care of. It's unbelievable. So I think that's probably the best thing that I like about it, is the opportunity to help folks. And I thought when I took the job, it's just a part-time job. I can still truck, and I can still golf, and I can still hunt and fish and all of that. It is a full-time job that pays $22,000 a year. Really lucrative job that you get up every morning excited about your paycheck. But it's more than that. It's helping people. It's making a difference. And this, the things like working on the TCAT here that just make the whole thing worthwhile. You're able to see your hard work and your relationships that you've made with all your co-reps and senators and the governor's staff. It pays off if you do the right thing over the years, and you don't make them mad. When you need something, they are willing to come to the table. So I guess that's it, Mike. It's mainly things about being rewarding for helping people and getting some really neat things done for the state of Tennessee.
Chairman?
Well, thank you. First of all, it's great to be here. When Mr. Vick invited me, we was, I think at UT Southern a few months back for the dedication. He said, would you come down for this? I said, yeah, I love Bedford County. It's beautiful down here. I get to go all over the state. I'm from Shelby County, but I was up in Greenville, Tennessee a few weeks back, meeting with all of them.
They don't have a nearest distillery up there, though, do they?
They don't. And Mike was with me. By the way, Pat and I came into office the same year, 2010. We were both elected at the same time, and we were office mates, and we sat on the front row of the chamber now together. So we've been joined at the hip for about 12 years now. They put us in the front row for a reason. I think they keep an eye on us or something like that. But I enjoy this work. I came out of that. My career started as a teacher and a principal back in the 70s. Left that. I got married, and I was at a private school, and this didn't quite pay enough for me to support my family and everything. So I went into the business world, and I had a business of my own for about 25 years. Sold that, and I was able to get into something that I really wanted to do, this particular political field. And so I've got a little, if I can find it, I love this quote. I'm always looking for great quotes. It says, this is credited to George Eliot, "What do we live for, if not to make life less difficult for each other?" Isn't that cool? And that's what education does. If we can help a child grow up to have a great education, we're making their life less difficult. They can support themselves and their families and get into careers that are amazing. That's why I've always loved this country, where a person that's good over here or good on this, and they can go in that direction. But right now, because of the last year, 2 years, third year now going on in schools, there's been a lot of disruption going on. And I never want to go through this again. Hopefully we don't, but disruption sometimes can help you. We are getting great on creative ideas and things like that. What's the old saying? When life gives you lemons, we make lemonade. Well, Bedford County right now is making lemonade because we see all the things that we can now change. Let me say, but get on your point, that what I enjoy about being a legislator is getting to meet people such as yourself that I wouldn't get to meet if I wasn't in this particular role, and these great people up here. But just moving around the state, doing things, getting to meet new people. And by the way, my favorite grade to teach was 7th grade. So y'all are a bunch of 12 and 13-year-old 7th graders out in the auditorium right now, and I'm just looking at you having a good time. So.
Chairman White, while we've got you, so you chair the House Education Committee, which means any piece of legislation that would affect the K-12 enterprise goes through your committee. Mm-hmm. What's on your mind in the coming session?
Wow. So much going on, and that's the biggest challenge. I'm not in the education field every day as the people that were up here a while ago, or Dr. Garrett and others. And so keeping up with all the conversation of what is going on. What I'm looking for as we go back into January is making sure that we, number one, make things easier for our school system and our teachers, which work so very hard. Having been a teacher, I know, just like you say, state legislatures, it's not a part-time job, it is full-time. Anything you do, it's time and a half. It takes a lot of time. So what we're looking for, we're now looking at the BEP funding. How do we do that? And Dr. Garrett said, please don't leave out the rural communities. I was born in Obion County, West Tennessee. I live in the Memphis area now. My wife is from Blount County, Alcoa, which is a rural community. I'm a big believer in rural communities. I have another job where I go around the state helping develop leadership in our state, in our communities, so that everyone can work together. We can do a better job. So the challenge is bringing everything together. I think the biggest challenge is working this BEP funding. How do we get the CTO? How do we get things from high school aligned going into our TCATs and into our community colleges, into our 4 years where the students can transition? I was reading this the other day where in our workforce in Tennessee, you take 100%, only 60% of those eligible in our workforce are actually in the workforce, 40% are not. And so why is that? Well, one reason, if we're losing children in our K through 12, that they're not moving on to some type of higher ed and things, where's that challenge? So we're looking at, let's move the skills back down to our high schools, catch these kids before they get out. And you may get into this in a second, Mike, but I'd like to see us move our Tennessee Promise dollars that you were over for many years and started, move those dollars into our high school before they ever graduate, so before we lose them, and get those credits and things aligned with the TCATs. But there's just a lot of challenges, and so right now we're just looking at, and that's why we need all the input from all those in our educational field.
If an informal poll of head nods were run, your suggestion on Tennessee Promise feels like a winner. I saw several people, and so what Chairman White was proposing was to say, hey, there may be a student, they're never going to go to college, but if we can get them in some dual enrollment while they're in high school at the TCAT or community college, why couldn't they use their promise then? The nodding is continuing. All right, so moved. Let's go back local. Speaker Marsh, can you tell us the journey of the Bedford County Higher Education Center? Why did you believe that was so important? And ultimately, what do you think it's going to deliver to the community?
Sure. I've always thought that the TCATs or career and technical was the way we ought to go. I mean, if you don't want to go to university, and we can't make you go, but a lot of people really want to go and they're due to go. A lot of people don't want to go. So what do we do with those folks? They've got to be trained in some kind of skill. And I got involved through Laura Monks with our TCAT here. I was on the board, I'm still on the board. And I just saw what all they did. And I found out just in the last couple of years that we've got over 500 people on the waiting list trying to get in. Well, what are those 500 going to do? They're not going to wait long. They're going to do something. So we're probably going to lose them. So we had a meeting one day, and Chancellor Tidings came down, and we had $4 million in our fund to expand our TCAT, which is over by Duck River Electric out on Madison Street. And it really needed to expand. It's a nice building, but it's old and it's not big enough. So we wanted to expand, but we had no real option to expand. So I talked to Chancellor Tidings that day with Laura Monks, and I said, why don't we just build a new one? And Chancellor Tidings said, I like the way you're thinking. And I didn't think we could do it, but we started working on it. Got Mike Krause involved in it, who was with higher ed, and he was all on board. Mayor Graham was all on board. Our leadership on the board and the county and city leaders, they all seemed to be on board. So Shane Reeves and I, Senator Reeves, went back to Nashville, and we just said, let's try to do this. It was only $42.4 million. So I thought, we'll never get this done, but we didn't give up. We met with the governor, we met with the governor's staff, we met with everybody we could think of, and we really didn't get any big promises. We just got, yeah, we know we need to do it, but we might do that next year. Well, I thought next year we'll be doing the same thing, so we pressed on. And I was really telling somebody the other day, I think what really, in my opinion, made the difference was I ran for election to be Speaker Pro Tem in the House this year, which is sort of the second in command. And I won, and so I got to go in on a lot of the leadership meetings, and I got to go in on the Finance Committee meetings on the budget. And every time I walked in there, I said, y'all remember, we got a TCAT in Bedford County we want, and they write it on the list, and it got more and more traction. I met with the Finance Commission, committee chairman in the Senate and the House, and got them thinking about it, and when it finally came out, it was on the list, to my shock and Shane Reeves' shock. So we had a big celebration, and it means so much to our community. In my opinion, it's a game changer for our community. It's going to be right out on 231 coming in from the interstate. It's going to be the front door to Shelbyville and Bedford County. It's going to be a fantastic looking facility. Laura Monk showed me earlier the drawings of it. It's going to be like a university campus. It's going to have courtyard. It's going to have a lake out front. It's going to have buildings for every different department. And it's going to have room to grow and a lot of parking. And hopefully those 500 people that are waiting to get in will want to go to this and go and graduate and and our placement rate will be 100% instead of 90%. So I think it's going to be a huge difference for our community. And I think that when we got this, that Mayor Graham and the leadership of the county and the city and the school board, we've seen, I think, everybody come together, seeing what our county and city can do to grow. And we've got Uncle Nearest and Keith and his group out there in the front door making it look great also, and tasting great, Keith. So we've just got so many great things. The atmosphere and just the feeling of the whole community has changed, in my opinion. We've got passionate leaders like Dr. Garrett and Laura Monks and Dr. Torrance and Dr. McPhee. If you all hadn't been around him much, the president of MTSU is passionate about a lot of different things. They've got a concrete management course now that's full, and everybody gets a job out of that. They've got an aeronautics degree that's 1,300 people involved in it. So, and everybody is getting out with a job, a great high-paying job. So, it's just doing a lot of great things that I'm really proud of, and I think that the whole community is proud of it.
That's right. So Chairman White, you get to be on the national stage in terms of education many times, and of course the state stage. What are some thoughts you would love to throw out there on how we can think about education differently? And specifically, as we come out of this incredibly, I couldn't believe it when Dr. Garrett said it, but we're three school years now of a pandemic. What are some reinventing education thoughts you're intrigued by?
Well, first of all, let me say, Pat Morris, he's a little bit humble there. When you go up to Nashville and you have 99 House members and 33 senators, just like anything else in life, whether you're in the classroom or wherever, your reputation means a lot. And so having Pat Morris there, when he comes and asks for $42 million, we know it's a serious thing, and I think it's his reputation as much as his leadership, and so he's just doing a fantastic job, and y'all are blessed to have such a good representative. Thank you for that. So the question is, the challenges, or what do I like to see?
What are the opportunities you see to innovate?
Oh, wow. Everything. The disruption that's going on right now, the technology that's coming down the board. I remember when I was growing up, I was in a very small town at the time, Naples, Florida. I lived on the southwest coast of Florida. My father was a missionary down there. It was that small. And in 1961, I would go over to the window and watch Alan Shepard and John Glenn would say they were taking off, the first men in space. And now we got a 90-year-old guy that went into space the other day, and so I'm thinking all of the things that are changing. We have such a golden opportunity right now because of this disruption that has gone on in education, to where now we can fix some things that maybe bureaucracy held us back before. And I'm so glad that we're now looking at what education, really, the skills. Just yesterday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we were in Nashville, and we appropriated the funds to get Ford Motor Company to come to Tennessee, which is just 30 miles outside Memphis, transform that agricultural area in West Tennessee. Do y'all know that is the largest investment that Ford has ever made in the history of Ford in the last 113 years in Tennessee? Yeah. So where I'm excited, Mike, I think is with all this industry coming in. Pat was showing me around all the things coming in down here, and what we see what's going on in East Tennessee. Industry is challenging education, that we have got to build a workforce. And that's exciting. Advanced manufacturing, which is an area that's going on down here. When you visit a factory and you see things being made, you know what fascinates me more than the product being made? That machine making it. And so advanced manufacturing is, how do you build a better process? How do you build a better product for that? So advanced manufacturing in this area is across the state is one thing. But I just see such an opportunity that so many walls have been pulled down in education. And just on top of that, as Dr. Garrett said, money is so very, very important. You can't move forward. You have to have the money. But you have to have good leadership first. You can have all the money in the world, if without the good leadership to know how to spend it correctly, then the money eventually is spent and goes away and nothing changes. So you've got to have good leadership. And we're fortunate right now to live in Tennessee where because we are the most business-friendly state in the nation right now, and industry is looking at us like crazy, from Memphis to Mountain City and everywhere in between. Last year, even with the pandemic going on, we took in $3 billion more than our state budget had anticipated. And then we start a new fiscal year in July 1. In July and August, we've already taken in $600 million more than we budgeted for. So the money is coming into a state. Why? Because we have been fiscally responsible as a state, that we don't spend money we don't have, and that we put it in the right places. So the money is coming in. Now, what do? We've got to have the right leadership across our state, that we invest that money to where it's needed. And with industry coming in, developing a workforce, which is why the previous panel up here is so important, is that we invest in our young people to develop skills so that they can sustain the workforce moving forward.
Thoughts on how we can do education a little different, Representative?
All right. Well, I think that, I just think the teachers have done an absolutely fabulous job with what they have and with the home life of some of our students. And I just don't see how you do it. And I applaud you every day. And we've got to work in the state to try to make it better for you. And Dr. Garrett and the leadership will be talking to us, primarily to Mark and the Education Committee, on things we can do to make it easier and better and more efficient, where we can get these students out. I think probably you all agree that it's like it is in the trucking industry with our drivers. Our top half, our top 3/4 of the drivers do an excellent job and get out and make a lot of money. It's that bottom half or bottom fourth that's constantly churning. You spend all your time dealing with those guys and your students that don't want to be there really. They don't have a good home life. They don't have a daddy or a mama. And they don't have any food. It's just, you got a lot of different things that are working against you. And all the Hispanics that have moved in, I think that Dr. Garrett said it was 27% of our school is Hispanic or English learners. So that's a lot of things to overcome. And I think you're doing an excellent job of doing that. And I think what we've got to do, and I don't know how to do it because I'm not an educator, but we've got to entice these students on, there is a better life. We're not teaching you this stuff just to pass a test. We're teaching you this to make your life better, to make you get out and be able to get a job. And maybe we need to entice them on the job that they might be interested in, with some co-op work or some things like that they go. We partner with businesses to bring them in to see what the job is like and see if they want to do it. And I read something just recently that the work ethic on a job has got to be learned. A lot of these students that get out, they don't know what it's like to have a job. But you go into a job, you're expected to work. And I think a lot of them don't know what that is. So there's a lot of things that we've got to overcome. And I think in hiring our people at our company, you want to look how they come in the door, how they dress, how they talk to you, the manners they have. There's all kind of things that I think do matter in training a student or a person in your business that does matter in the long haul. So we've got an opportunity to change the way we operate in Tennessee. We've got to get the students ready for a job and not ready to pass a test. And I think as a state, we put too much emphasis on passing that test and not coming out being ready for a job. And I'll have to let Mark White, my education guru, if anybody calls me about an education problem, I'll turn around and call Mark. So y'all can just skip me and go straight to Mark.
Just like Chairman White was hoping.
Yeah.
So I heard early in my career a great quote, which was, the best legislators are the best listeners. And I can tell you, both of these gentlemen are great listeners. What did you hear from that earlier panel of those experts that's kind of sticking with you that you might want to keep pondering as session begins?
Me?
You wanna tackle that
Either.
first?
Go ahead.
Yeah. What did I hear? Number one, everyone sitting up here, I can see there's such a great leader. That's really encouraging for me to see that people that actually get it, that boots on the ground, that know how. And I think the thing is, how do we? Dr. Garrett was saying, our K through 12. I'm from Memphis. And I just say it, our city school system struggles. Pat just said, I'm a big advocate on rebuilding the home. I come from a faith-based background, and I wrote a book about the importance of fathers in the home. And that's why, Dr. Garrett, are you still in here?
Yes, right here.
We won't forget the rural communities, because one reason I love rural communities is because traditionally, the rural community is where you have faith, family, Friday night football, where the whole town comes together. My wife is from Alcoa, and the whole town is at the game playing Maryville on Friday night or in that area. So we got to, the challenge that teachers have when you have students coming in that are ill-prepared because the home life is not there. That's something that we as a society have to work on that, so the challenges. But I would think that, listening to this panel before up here from Bedford County, is that they really understand that we've got to develop a skilled workforce. And that means going into K through 12. It's got to start there early, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, so that these students can know what is available. I wish I would have known all the things that were available before I graduated from 12th grade. Many of us, one reason we were able to move on and do things in life, because we came out of maybe a home that was supportive of what we were doing. But when a child doesn't have that, then it is a challenge. So we won't forget the rural communities.
And Mark and I were talking last night with another retired teacher, and talking about how do you teach a first or third grader how to read? And that's an art. I couldn't do it. And then we were talking about the importance of phonics, and I guess that's really important, and what I hear it is, and of cursed writing and things that we used to do, we took granted for. Then they're just not. Some of that's not. It's lost. It's a lost art. So I think some of that's got to come back.
Well, just to close, because we have just a few minutes, any other thoughts y'all have generally on just education, workforce, especially in rural communities?
I think, like Mark said, and like we heard from the panel before, it really starts with the leadership. You got to have leaders like our mayor and our superintendent and our school board and our county commissioners and our city council. You got to have leaders that really care, that show they care, that come up with exciting ideas, and that they're passionate about it. And we have that in Bedford County.
You do.
I think that's got to be the start.
Yeah, and don't believe everything you read in the paper. Okay, there's 132 of us, and our job is, and there could be, there's 2,000 bills a year filed.
About 1,500 to 2,000.
About 400 in the education field and everything. So when a state rep or a senator files a bill, we've got to deal with it in committee. So we start talking about it, and the press picks it up like it's something that, hey, what are y'all doing that for? No, we've got to talk about it because it was filed, and so 75% of the bills, they die in our sub and full committee system, and only about 20% or 25% go onto the House floor, where there's a chance for it to actually become legislation. So there's a lot of talk things, and you say, what in the world are they doing that for? Well, a lot of times we're not, but that's the government way that you got to talk about things just to go through the process.
One thing that I'd like to say is that it really is important that Mark and I and our whole group hear from you. We've got emails and secretaries, and we want to hear what you think. It does matter. Don't think for a second that I know everything that I need to know, because I don't. So I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts, and maybe we can make it better. Maybe we can't do anything about it, but at least we know about it.
At the risk of Kelly throwing something at me, because we're almost at time, something struck me about both of your comments that I do think gets missed, and that is the civility piece of our discussions that in America feels like it's eroding, that I would share with you all being at the Capitol often. I think you'd be surprised how much the two parties work together. Could you all share just a little bit of that behind the curtain of how you work with members of the other party and are friends, in fact, with members of the other party? Because I don't think that gets out.
I've got great friends that are, I'm a Republican, Mark and I both are Republican. We have a super majority in the House and Senate. So basically, if we don't like what they say, we don't vote on it. But we do try to get along. We go out and eat dinner together, and when they come up with their crazy ideas, we let them talk, and we'll talk to them, and then we just vote it down. It's pretty simple. But sometimes, occasionally, they do have a good idea. And what was so refreshing in this, we went into session Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, got through yesterday about 3 o'clock, which we hardly ever do. We normally start in January, but we have a special session that started Monday. And the whole session was about getting Ford Motor Company to move to the West Tennessee mega site, which is 4,100 acres between Memphis and Jackson. And everybody, you know, most everybody was for that. We had 3 no votes in the House, which I don't know why they voted no for a huge industry coming in, bringing 6,000 jobs and $3.5 billion in economic income to the state annually. I mean, it's just a huge deal. And to hear both sides get up and talk about how great that was, it was really refreshing this week to hear that. We were both on the same side wanting it to happen. And normally it's not like that, but we can get up and argue and do all of that on the House floor, and then we go outside and talk about stuff that really matters. That a lot of it, in my opinion, is showmanship. They know the TVs are on and the newspaper's there, and they're trying to get a headline so they can win their next election, I guess. So, and I think Mark and I are not like that. We're up there, in my opinion, to do what's right. And I hardly ever get up and speak, and neither does Mark. But when I do, it's something I really am passionate about. Most of the time, when I get up, everybody in there knows when I raise my hand, I'm calling for the question. I'm trying to get it over with. That's what I'm known for, is calling for the question.
Aren't y'all glad I asked that question, given that?
And
go ahead.
I was going to add to that, it's easy to get along with the other party when you have a supermajority, because you know at a certain point you can cut conversation off and move on. So that's nice, but no, we do work well together. We have our disagreements. Probably one of the biggest challenges, like we've been over there 12 years, and like any career, it takes a while to understand exactly the bureaucracy of government and how you can fix it. So I am not a fan of term limits because we've been there 12 years, and Pat and I probably we're in the 15 longest serving. So there's a huge turnover. But when you turn over every 2 years and you bring in you don't have a lot of background, a lot of institutional knowledge, and you don't really know how to fix things, especially all this challenge we're doing in education right now, because a new person comes in. So, you know, there's good and bad both ways. So the turnover is tough a lot of times. If you turned over in your career every 5 years, 6 years with new people, it'd be kind of hard to move forward and things. But one thing I always tell my committee when we chair education is whoever, I says, no, I always love this saying is that when you speak as though you're absolutely right. But when you listen as though you're absolutely wrong. And so if we will listen to each other, 80% of the times we're probably saying the same thing. We're just saying it in different ways, and we're not listening because we're so focused on what we want to say. So listen first, and then form your thoughts. And I think that helps us come to a good collaborative understanding of. And I could give you millions of stories about that works.
Join me in thanking our legislators.
Good job.
Another brief reset and have our next session come up. Mayor Graham leading.
We'll go ahead and get started on our final panel. If I could have everyone come on in and join us, and we'll get ready for our final panel. Once again, I want to say thank you to everybody that came out today. I think this has been a lot of great information, a lot of great concepts and ideas, and people that you may not get to hear from on a regular basis or get to hear from in person, you've gotten to hear from today. So I think this event has been a great event, and we'll look forward to continuing these types of efforts going forward. The Shelbyville-Bedford Partnership, part of what we do is work daily with our existing industry. It is extremely important that we keep our existing industry and make sure that they feel fully supported. Part of what we do is recruiting new industry, but I believe the most important part of what we do is making sure that we keep our arms around the existing industry and make sure that they are fully supported so they can stay with us for a long time. At this time, I want to introduce the panel members for our final panel this afternoon. But before I do that, I want to say thank you to the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development for allowing John Hatfield to be with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is John Hatfield right next to me. John is our local representative for anything, everything Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. also is part of this panel. It was important to me, if you look at this panel, you'll notice something today, and the only reason I bring it up is because I saw it in your hallway. If you look up here on this panel today, you're going to see some of the most, you'll see a very diverse panel here today, and I do believe in diversity. I think that's important. It's what our community looks like, so it was important for us to reach out to our industry leaders and present the face of what our industries really look like. First of all, we want to introduce Blair Mann from Cooper Steel Fabricators. We also have with us Keith Weaver from the Nearest Green Distillery. We also have with us Shelby Morton from Morelli North America. And then a long-time existing industry partner and someone that we're happy to work with on a regular basis from Musgrave Pencil Company, Mr. Scott Johnson.
Good morning. You ready to hear me? Phone? So again, I'm John Hatfield, and I'm glad to be here today. And before Shane introduced me, I don't expect for you to, any of you to know who I was, to be honest with you. I do work for the Department of Economic Development, Economic and Community Development for the state of Tennessee. I'm a regional director for Southern Middle Tennessee, which consists of 13 counties. We're one of 9 regions across the state. And in each region, we have 2 or 3 people in each region that we're the business development division of the department, and as Shane says, that we're responsible for day in, day out, creating jobs through new and expanding industry. And as Shane said, obviously having a regional team, mostly the reason is to focus on existing industry. And we recognize in the state of Tennessee, unlike other states, why we have regional teams is we need to focus on existing industry because they create at least 75–80% of the new jobs every year. And we have a great panel today. But I work with the Shane Hoopers of 12 other counties, his economic development counterparts, and we spend most of our time, or at least most of my time, in recruiting new companies to the state or working with existing industry and hoping they spend money and create jobs locally. In past years, and we're all here today obviously because of workforce development. And it used to be the main factors when someone locating in Tennessee, and it still comes down to having sites and buildings, and that's the most important factor in what market you're in and what market the company's looking for. But it used to be, it might be incentives was the next big thing. How much can you give me? How much money, money can I get? But now it's not that. It's, where are the people and how can I get them? And it's not just a Southern Middle Tennessee thing. It's all across the Southeast. And we've had our big hits, here in Southern Middle and across the state, especially recently with the Ford project, which has been mentioned a time or two up here. We had the GM announcement back at the first of the year in Spring Hill. We had Ultium battery facility that's going in to supply the GM announcement, which was both of those combined were over $4.5 billion. Two of the largest, I think the two largest capital investment announcements in state history before the Ford got us a couple months down the road. But anyway, we've had a great year, and not only in Spring Hill, but we've had a lot of other announcements, new announcements of new industry. We've had a lot of California companies coming into the area, but a lot of good expansions across the region. We had a good new one here today that's with us today that's come in recently in the last couple of years. So anyway, with that being said, do I need to repeat all that?
Yeah, start from the beginning, John.
Did anybody get any of that? Okay, good, okay. And I'm gonna take this off just because my cord's gonna get messed up here. So with that today, we've got a great panel, as Shane said. I'm just gonna leave it, I guess. Anyway, we've got some older companies in the area that you probably know, and we've got some newer companies in the area that have had great starts to the presence here in Bedford County. So some old, some new, and some you may have tasted. May or may not. But anyway, we've got a great panel today, and with that, I just want to, I know Shane kind of announced who you are, but let's start off on the other end there, Scott, and just kind of tell a little bit, introduce yourself and what you do with the company, when your company started, obviously what you do. I know, Musgrave's been around a long time, and probably everybody in Shelbyville-Bedford County knows about Musgrave, but just kind of tell about what you do, who you are, and let's also maybe how many employees you have, so they have an idea of what your workforce is.
Sure. So very blessed to share the journey in Shelbyville since 1916 as Musgrave Pencil Company, and what's in a name? So we're a custom pencil manufacturer. We do small custom orders to large box store orders, and so that's generally our company. We also own a packaging business called Harvest, which custom hard carton boxes for jewelry cases and things of that nature. My role is Vice President of Operations, and so I'm part of, with my colleague Harper Hewlin, part of a transition team to take on the next generation of leadership for Musgrave and try to sustain it for the next 100 years. And let me just echo what Mike said earlier. I think all of us are here with our individual opportunity as a result of great mentors and teachers and educators like we have before us. And so thank you for all you do. We're excited to partner with you and be here.
Blair?
Yep. So I'm Blair Mann with Cooper Steel Fabricators here in Bedford County. Cooper Steel started in 1960, so we actually celebrated our 60th anniversary last year. A company that started in the garage of Mr. Cooper is now employing over 390-ish employees over 3 different companies. And it's professionals from our skilled labor in our shop and our field crews, all the way to accounting, human resources, IT, purchasing, all of the operations that goes into the business. I began working with Cooper Steel in about 2016, 2017 from a consulting standpoint. Was given the opportunity to join the team last year, early 2020. HR in the middle of a pandemic is extremely fun. And in my role as I started as HR director, the growth that we have seen at Cooper Steel over the last 16 months has actually given me my new opportunity as the VP of Organizational Development to do a lot of, like what Scott said, it's transitioning the teams, the leadership, the individuals that are looking at the strategy of how we are changing as a workforce, which is what we're going to talk about today.
And Blair, I know y'all have projects all over the place. How far do y'all reach with your job sites?
A lot of our jobs are in the eastern part, but it depends on what's going on. We have had them in multiple states. So
I know you go out west some, maybe towards Texas and out in that area as well.
We've had a lot of jobs in Texas.
Very good, very good. Mr. Keith?
Thank you. So personal privilege, I wanted to start with a thank you. So on the prior panel, there was someone who made mention that we have extraordinary leadership in this county, and we really do. And for Nearest Green Distillery, we have enjoyed and benefited from that greatly. I'm looking at Commissioner Pinson there, Commissioner Vick, and Mayor Graham, and Representative Marsh, and Senator Reeves, and you for the state, and others. So I wanted to start there. So Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey is the company my wife and I co-founded in 2017, in the middle of 2017. And the brand was born out of history. So Nathan Nearest Green, a person, was the mentor, teacher, and friend of Jasper Newton Jack Daniel, and was the first master distiller for Jack Daniel. And so in recognition of that story, my wife, who is an author and historian and a businesswoman and lots of stuff, was captivated by, we both were, we came to this great state in 2016 first, and then, as I mentioned, the brand was born out of that. We are now here in Bedford, obviously. We're the fastest growing whiskey or bourbon company in American history since we started. We're in all 50 states, 17 countries outside of the US. We have 34,000 points of distribution globally. It's crazy great. Today we have about 80 some odd employees dispersed throughout the country and a few international employees, some in Japan and some in the UK, and that's building. So the site itself, Nearest Green Distillery, is now 323 acres here, kind of at the start of Bedford on 231, and it's exciting. So there are 2 board members of the company. We're independent. I'm one of them. My wife is the other. So things are just going at a break, and she's the CEO. So it's a partnership, it's a family, and it's pretty wonderful. So I don't know if I covered everything, but that's mine.
Who has been on the site of Uncle Nearest Green out here? Anybody? Hopefully a lot of you have. Keith, tell me, I know, you've had a lot of goings on, a lot of construction going on. Tell us about the visitor center and how it's coming along as far as maybe its hours, possible events coming up or anything like that.
Oh, yes. So the property itself, for those of you who are not familiar, it has been known as Sand Creek Farm. It's an iconic horse breeding training facility for Tennessee walking horses. And my wife and I love horses, so we wanted to respect that history. And we reimagined the horse sales arena into the Welcome Center. And so we really like adaptive reuse projects, which are always fun and expensive and whatever. But that's coming along well. That's actually open now. We brought in a gentleman named Jim Felding. He was the head of Disney Stores Worldwide to help us think through the space. So he did that, and it's got lots of history dripping through it and around it. We talk about the temperance movement, the suffrage movement. All of that is kind of, it's a distillery that's met the Smithsonian and it had a baby is really what it is. It's open on the weekends now, appointment only tours for the most part, Saturday, Sunday, and then that will expand.
Very good, very good. And again, if you haven't been, and I realize I asked you to raise your hands, and the really honest ones raise their hands. And some of the ones, you probably got a lot more than raise their hands actually probably been out there. But anyway, thank you very much for being here today. Shelby, tell us about yourself and Morelli. And I think everybody here knows Morelli, but go ahead.
Sure, and everybody here, many of you I'm sure have taught me, and if not, you know me. So thank you. I'd like to echo, Bedford County does have great teachers and great leaderships that actually got me into this position. So it's pretty cool. I sat in that auditorium as a student, and now I'm sitting here as a panelist. So it's pretty neat and pretty special for me. I think Scott asked me, are you born and raised? And yes, I am. So born and raised in Shelbyville, and fortunate enough to move into a corporate position here and support and give back to Bedford County as well as make a good living for my family. So yes, Morelli North America, many of you probably know it as Calsonic. So yes, formerly Calsonic. We have merged into a much larger company at this point. So globally, we have 170 locations, about 68,000 employees. So it's very large. In the United States specifically, we have 8 locations and about 5,000 employees. Specific to Bedford County, the number is probably about 2,500. And obviously looking to grow. Morelli we have roots here, we have facilities here. But we've got to have the workforce. So I guess that's what we're here to talk about. And as a human resources manager, it's a fantastic time to be one, but it has to be a topic. Workforce development has to be a main priority for schools, for city, for county, for legislation. I mean, it has to be a priority. Or, we talked about the facility in Memphis. How will we provide workforce for that. We struggle with the industry that we have now, so we really have to work together collectively to do something new, to do something innovative, and staff our industry.
And in addition to all those facilities, you've also got 3 or 4 just in southern Middle Tennessee.
Correct, yes. The majority is in southern Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, Giles County, Marshall County here. So it's a great employer for all southern Middle Tennessee. So thank you. We're going to get into the hard-hitting questions here. This is why we're here, to talk about workforce development. And I'm going to ask a couple questions, and I'm going to say I'm going to give you about a minute or so to answer those. It may not be exactly the amount of time you want, but I'll try to monitor you and let you know if you're going too far there. So, Scott, again, start on the end over there. And the question obviously is to each of you. How has your industry changed in the last 5 years? And I know with you it has not just the past 5 years, but the industry that you're in has gone through great changes over the last 15, 20 years probably.
Sure. And you can't talk about the last 5 years without talking about the pandemic and the impact and the circumstance of our workforce and their families and the challenges that they deal with on a regular basis. And then just from a business standpoint, the logistics issues in terms of supply chain and managing our product delivery through the challenges of consistent and predictable supply chain. From a consumer standpoint, obviously with the pandemic and that changing circumstance, the types of products and profiles of products that people buy, it's increased our online retail sales, and so that is certainly a trend that we see continuing out of this circumstance in the last 5 years. So
thank you.
All in there.
Blair?
I would say in our industry, the biggest change that we have seen is in automation. So Dr. Torrance actually mentioned that, automation isn't necessarily, it's not the elimination of a position. It's rather enhancing that end result. So we have seen something as simple as drawings. So going from reading handwritten drawings to reading CAD drawings, to now 3D drawings, and seeing the workforce and a skill set that has that visualization to look at that 2D drawing and see it as a 3D. So again, the automation has enhanced consistency. It's enhanced our productivity in terms of efficiency on how we can do something, but it still brings back the skill set of individuals that are working with the automation. So it's just it's changed our labor force, but not eliminated our labor force.
Keith, I know you've only been in business a few years, and it may only been part of the industry a few years actually. But tell us about your industry, and I know we always say your industry is recession-proof. You use it when your things are going good and things are going bad. Is that correct?
It's true. And what's happened coterminous with us starting and that 5-year period, because we're just at 4.5 years, is that consumer interests have changed. It's really evolved. So what we are, where we sit in the marketplace, we're an ultra premium brand. And consumers, regardless of age, income, you can imagine, are moving away from the bottom shelf and want premium spirits associated with their adult beverage experience. And so that has shifted quite dramatically. And then through COVID, we've seen those who weren't positioned in the marketplace have really struggled, especially if they're independent or in more limited locations. So I think that has fueled a lot of movement there where consumer preference is really changing the way different brands grow or don't.
Thank you. Shelby?
To kind of echo what Blair said with the automation, I think 5 years ago, it probably was a fear of the workforce that a robot was going to replace them. I think definitely over the last 5 years, they've come to the conclusion that that's not the case. The automation will improve the product, but you still have to have a skilled workforce to run the robot, to program the robot, to ensure that it doesn't produce a product that's not quality. And I don't think that people realized, it will make their job easier, and it has, but it also requires, a very strategic and innovative skill set to come in and work with those robots and automation products that we have inside the facility. So, I can see a big shift where, people were scared to lose their jobs, and now, they don't necessarily have to use their hands to do it, but you still require the skill set to position the product, look at the product, ensure the product is quality, and that's not, it's not mindless. We have to have people that are skilled to work for us.
Thank you. Next question, I'm actually going to kind of combine the next two because they're kind of similar. Where are you seeing the biggest job growth, and what skills and capabilities are you seeing that are the most critical going forward?
So, for us, it's a role transformation. As I mentioned earlier, I think the circumstance of the pandemic has really focused on e-commerce relative to our products, and so we are seeing a need to grow our ability to fulfill those orders, whether it's working in graphic design with a customer and to customize a product, whether it's the whole ecosystem from a customer interface on the internet through shipping and fulfillment, everything that's involved in that process and integration of those systems. And so I would say that we have to manage by having good data and having good quality through that ecosystem. And so having an IT platform that captures the customer experience as well as manages the automation and the delivery accurately with high quality. And so one of the things I've thought about, John, is having a higher skilled and accredited IT support system and support staff that know how to mine that data, know how to integrate that whole ecosystem from front end to back end.
Thank you.
I would say our biggest growth over the last 12 months, we have been fortunate enough that Cooper Steel as a company has definitely grown. Just in the last 18 months, I would say that we've hired about 100 employees, 70% of those being skilled individuals, skilled workers, not necessarily college degreed, but really zoning in on those basic skills, the things that they learn every day from the people that are sitting in this audience. It's that showing up, it's being to work on time, the teamwork. Teamwork is huge. Whether they're a welder that's under a hood every day and not necessarily interacting, they're still working in a section of a process that is a part of an end result. So when I look at skills and capabilities from a recruiting strategy standpoint on what we're looking for, it's the basics. It's those hard work, like I said, dependability, depending on them to show up. So, as I'm looking at it from a K through 12th grade, it's the tardies. It's the ones that have good attendance. That's going to be the workers that we're looking at in the future. And those skills are ones that they have to learn early, whether that be through K through 12 or in higher education. It's really, I think the aging workforce that we have, I'm going over a minute, so you tell me if I need to stop. The aging workforce that we have, we're having to replace really big shoes. And I think the generation that's coming up is a little bit at a disadvantage because of advancements in technology. So things that are a positive are also creating challenges that employers like us are really having to adapt our training so that we can give them what our baby boomers already had. They're the ones that were working on a farm with a grandparent in the middle of a field without a cell phone, and you fix the tractor. Now you're in the middle of a field, you call someone and they bring you a part. So it's those little things that I know that educators you see, but it's the life skills. It's those soft skills that really is what, when you look at skills and capabilities that are most critical, it's that. It's showing up, hard work, dependability, problem solving is huge. Being able to not step back from a problem and let it be someone else's, but taking ownership of that.
Thank you. Keith?
That's great. For us, we're this gigantic plan, and there are many roles. You can be a PhD or high school grad and anything in between. So in no particular order right now, top of mind is supply chain management issues. We're interesting in that we purchased this year 5.5 million pounds of corn all over the state. We have 1.5 million bottles that are in Missouri, getting them here. Our corks are from Portugal. So there's a supply chain management role and arm that will continue to build and grow at the company. The other is this plant that's under development and not yet operational. We need food scientists. We need people to run the lab. I need to make sure that the quality that we have that wins all the awards is mirrored and projects into the future. So that's a key part of what we're doing. I need mechanical engineers. Once the site is built, I need to have that operate efficiently and that we don't have food contamination at the site. So those are key elements of it. We need civil engineers. We're building a lot, and one of the pain points is that there's always a lag in what's going on from a civil engineering perspective. So that's a key thing for us. We also need salespeople. We built the brand on earned media and sales, and that's how we're going to continue to grow the brand. And so that's happening quite a bit. The last thing I'll say is that a lot of roles I am hiring people in Kentucky. And we're Tennessee whiskey. And so I think that there's room for that to change, including how you build a barrel warehouse, a rick house. The rick system, the engineering around that is not coming from here, despite iconic company, big company down the road from us. So I think some of that creates a lot of job opportunity and prospects in the state for our company into the future.
Very good, thank you. Shelby?
Sure, so absolutely skilled workers. You know, alone in Tennessee, we have over 200 open positions. So you can imagine if I need 200 people to produce parts for Ford or GM or Nissan and I don't have them, it becomes a huge struggle. You know, our volume says we need this many people and we only have this many people. So skilled workers and like Blair said, people that will show up. You know, there's great opportunity within those skilled positions, starting at the lowest level position, working their way up to higher level positions. But, you know, they have to show up and have to be teachable. And I know you guys have the same struggles that we do. But, you know, to keep industry here, we've got to be able to staff those openings. You know, it's not a good picture in the manufacturing industry right now as far as staffing goes. The labor shortage in skilled workers is damaging for sure.
Thank you.
I want to add one thing, sorry. On that, that's exactly right. I think also it's the stigma between, it's already been mentioned today, not everyone has the want to continue their education to a four-year degree. Some of them right after high school want to go into work, but there's a stigma that they can only go to work after high school in this type of job. And it's not that executive level C-suite job. So the stigma is if I don't, then I'm gonna get a manufacturing job. And they say it in a negative tone, and it's not. In today's, especially somewhere like Bedford County, there are so many opportunities for people that with those basic skill sets of hard work, dependability, showing up, the opportunities that they have in front of them aren't ones that actually, they don't require that 4-year degree to have them. And they can stay right here in this county, kind of like Shelby was saying, and be successful if they have those core competencies that are learned from a young age.
Amen.
Well said.
Next question, I'm going to kind of simplify and just give a real quick answer. What certifications are out there that make students more attractive for your company right now?
Yeah, so machinist trade for us for sure, for both machine design and machine repair is huge. Graphic design is huge for us in terms of product development. And I mentioned the IT certifications as well. It'd be critical for us as we step into automation further in our own company.
For ours, of course, being a steel fabrication and self-perform or erection of the steel, ours is welding. But I really, when Dr. Monks was talking and the variations at TCAT, to be a welder, there's lots of different styles of welding. So what TCAT is doing in terms of broadening their approach and making the curriculum relevant to the jobs, especially here in Bedford County, is huge for Cooper Steel, and we appreciate all of their efforts and what they've done.
For us, we need, quite frankly, some of those certifications to be developed. Right now, the people that are working in the distilling pipeline, there's a distilling school in Kentucky. I've sent people there. But really, it's site-specific, and I think for us it's a little bit niche only because there are breweries are ubiquitous. There's lots of craft beer brewers, but distillers are less so because the capital needs for it are so great. And what happens from, say, a Jack Daniel's to us is very different, and from us to a Corsair is very different. So it's very specialized and unique to us, and I think that we're excited about TCAT being next door because I could see career pathways from there into us. And I'm excited about the conversations to develop that a little bit further. But nothing at the ready beyond, of course, as I mentioned before, food scientists and things of that nature, mechanical engineers, obviously. But yeah, it's an evolving space for us.
Okay.
Sure. So machinists for sure. Our tool and die makers, they're retiring with 35, 40 years of knowledge that can't be replaced. So tool and die for sure. Any technical degree is great. It definitely makes you more desirable, but I know this isn't a certification, but a perfect attendance certificate get you straight in the door.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Just show up there.
Sure. Well, we're running a little low on time, and I know this panel is keeping you off from lunch eventually. So, lastly, I want us to touch on any final thoughts you might have on the future of your workforce, and if you can, just real quickly, kind of tell what percentage of your workforce requires a technical degree as opposed to how much you're proving it has a 4-year college degree.
Yeah, I would say that the majority of our workforce is skilled labor, and probably 10 to 15% would require an advanced degree, either from a technical or from a four-year degree. To Blair's point earlier, gosh, having a heart for teamwork and developing a curriculum at this point in their journey around what teamwork looks like and what collaboration and shared vision and having a context in how we fit into the greater world economy, the greater world of Bedford County, and knowing just how we fit in and can contribute, and having a sense of having that vision of teamwork and collaboration to further something bigger than yourself, and the experience that we can generate that. And I would also echo from the earlier panel, so I'm going a little long as well. I'm all about partnership. So to the extent that we as business can partner with schools for whether it's internships or co-ops and getting people experience on the job and know what it means to go to work and know what it means to experience work life in a positive way and give people some excitement about entering the workforce.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
You bet.
I agree with all of that, and I also, I believe it was Representative Marsh that said, understanding what work is. So giving them that ability to see that is huge. But also, and this may be done in schools, keep in mind I have twins in the 4th grade and a 3-year-old, so we're not there yet. But aptitude test, making sure that as they are progressing through their education, understanding the basics of treating each other the way you want to be treated through the golden rule in the elementary years, to building on the basic skills of reading a ruler and adding and subtracting fractions as they progress. And then it's right before that, leaving the 12th grade and really understanding, with building on all of those, what are they set up best to succeed at? And is that a trade? Is that a profession? I think having a better understanding of what opportunities are there and what they, in terms of their personality, sees as success, not necessarily what society says is a successful career path, is really big. I think you had mentioned the percentages. So from Cooper Steel, we are probably, I didn't bring this statistic with me, I would say 60% of ours is from a skilled labor perspective, both in our field as well as our fabrication shops, with the rest being from professional. Obviously the opportunities for project management, accounting, all of the different departments that we have would make up the rest of our workforce.
Thank you.
So we're excited. We have tremendous growth, not only at our company. Uncle Nearest just enjoyed its 12th straight quarter of triple-digit plus growth, and that is emblematic of the industry, actually. American Spirits is on the rise, brown spirits specifically, and more specifically, premium brown spirits, and so that's who we are and where we're at. And because of that, that's growing domestically. There's a huge international demand for domestic U.S. produced spirits. Right now, it's not as much of a push because of tariffs and things of that nature, but that will grow. That will be resolved. And so for us, fueling that with a talented workforce is critical. It's everything these folks have just said. That's going to kind of continue to build the company. In terms of skilled percentage, you asked that in terms of where we see that breaking for us. We're probably 90+% skilled labor. You can essentially walk in the door of our company and move pretty much anywhere you want at the company, and that will just continue to be the case. It's how we built the company, how we see it growing into the future. So tremendous opportunity, whether it's fresh out of high school, if they show up, the perfect attendance certificate is real, and the right attitude. We send people to training. I mean, the person that runs bottling, our head of bottling, had a landscaping business before this, but had the right attitude and shows up and phenomenal and great. I'm training him.
Yeah,
Other person that runs the assistant store manager was from insurance. It's great. I'm going to train you. He's from Bedford. We'll work with you. So yeah, there's lots there. Excited to be here.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Shelby.
Sure. So yeah, hard work pays off. I don't think there's necessarily a student that doesn't want to be successful or want a successful career. They may not know exactly how to get there, but if they put in the work, they can get there. I think I say a lot of this generation, and I'm not that far out of it, but they want to be successful, but they don't want to put in the work to do it. And it feels really good when you put in the work and you achieve a goal. And I think that's something that we really have to push, is that you can be successful, you can reach your goal, but you are going to have to work to do it. That would just be my takeaway for the teachers to really push that, help them achieve those goals, because they can do it. I'm not sure where we fell off, but I have people walk in my office that want a better life for themselves. They want to show up to work. It's like they just don't know how. So we have to partner together to bridge that gap and show people show students, show young adults that it is possible. But also just talking percentages, for me, there's 3 paths. There's straight to work, post-secondary technical school, and college. We require all 3. You can stay here in Bedford County and do any of the 3. But as far as just kind of numbers, I would say 75% of that is skilled or technical workforce. The rest, the other 25%, would be your degree.
Well, in order of time and lunch, and again, I appreciate all of you being here today to listen to all this. I think we had a lot of great panels today, but hearing it straight from the industry's mouth, I think you've probably learned a lot, hopefully, about the challenges they're going through these days. And I appreciate each one of you being on. I know you're busy people, and I appreciate each one of you being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
With us just for another second. We're almost there. I know lunch is important. One quick comment from Mayor Chad Graham. Mayor Graham?
Well, the takeaway today is we're dead serious about the future of Bedford County.
Oh, boy.
Dead
Big
serious.
news. We're grateful for all the leadership folks that you were here able to see and be with today. We're all committed, and we all recognize the cornerstone to all this success lies in education.
Yes.
And that's the folks that we were addressing here today. So we're excited that you're involved. We want you to be a part of where we're going. The future is bright for Bedford, and we will be with you in the end with this. Thank you.
We had a great morning, great conversations, great panelists here, and now we're getting ready to have a great lunch. Our friends at Ascend Federal Credit Union, where is Tiffany? Is Tiffany Holland here? Here she is. Come up here. We want to thank you for this.
Hi, everyone. I am Tiffany Holland with Ascend Federal Credit Union. We're happy to be here. We just kind of want to, most of you might not know the difference between a bank and a credit union. So banks are investor-owned, where credit unions are member-owned. Banks are for-profit, where credit unions are not-for-profit. And you have to be eligible to join a credit union, whereas a bank, you can just walk in the door. And banks are also investor-owned. I already said that part, sorry. Banks have a paid board of directors, whereas the credit union has a volunteer board of directors. So every decision they make is strictly to benefit members. With that being said, you guys are all eligible to join the credit union through the Board of Education. So if you go in and don't say the schools, you have to specify the Board of Education. And we're going to try to get that fixed where it's the school system specifically, so it's easier for you guys. But you are all eligible to join. If you have any questions, we're going to be out there at the table so you guys can come talk to us. We have a few things you can grab as well. And we're just happy to be here, and thank you all.
Thank you, Tiffany. And thank you, everyone. Representative Marsh, Representative White have said if there's any questions, they've got email, they'll be here. And one last time, a big round of applause to Mike Krause. He's just outstanding. He's always the smartest guy in the room, though. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everyone. Dr. Garrett has one last comment. Dr. Garrett, thank you.
Thank you so much for being a great audience. I know as teachers, we don't like to sit much. We're used to up, around and about, going, talking all day. So I know this was hard, but I hope that this will be in your mind to think about conversations that you can have with students, about opportunities that they had, about the skills that they need to be successful. Thank you for everyone who was a part of this. Thank you for investing in our students, for investing in our community. And I hope you have a great day. Enjoy your lunch and enjoy your fall break.
So Blair, do you guys make